Hello there. It's a long time no see, I guess. Just mind my own business. Just wanting to break. But just if you're thinking of just being into consoles, buying, just buying them. Who cares about the fire risks and all of that? I know I don't. But yeah, just I don't know. Just provided you just look at the time and then you just, oh yeah, oh crap. It's time to talk. Console revisions. I'm gonna shoot myself. Because trust me, who doesn't like watching people lose their minds over stuff that some people find pretty easy to understand? Like, but like, you'll see what I'm probably talking about? Maybe you won't. But let's just get on with this. We're gonna start the painfully easy ones, so maybe you'll learn something. Ah yes, the PlayStation Portable, God's favourite handheld if he hated himself. This may seem like a weird start for me, but trust me, I've seen too many people make this kind of mistake, and it's my favourite thing to point out in different shops I go to. I just want to point something out to you. Oh well, what is it? Like, is it something I want to buy, or? Yeah, your PSP, you've labelled your 3000 model as an original model. Why is there why is there a coffee cup on your head? Oh yes, I know. I'm not one to shun people for working an underpaid job to not understand the difference between PSP consoles, but it's my favourite thing to nitpick because I have a bit of an OCD thing when it comes to that. Especially when it comes to them being priced differently, you know. Like, everyone knows the PSP Go for being something that only narcissists would buy nowadays, or a PSP Street because you live in Europe. But then there's also the more common revisions, the PSP 1000, the PSP 2000, and the PSP 3000. Which, yeah, those are pretty easy to tell unless you talk about the 2000 to 3000 model. So I don't understand why some people label the 3000 as the original model. So considering we've got the PSP consoles out of the way, what else are we going to be talking about next? And I'll probably have to bring out I'm going to have to bring out a console from just being buried. Okay, let's talk about the PS3. We're going to be only talking about the fat one, the original, everyone's favorite. Alright, I'm not going to be jumping into a voiceover, but let's talk. Alright, so this would usually be seen by many with an uncivilized eye as being able to play the PS2 games. However, if I can bring this over, I am very careful with my consoles, as you could tell. Oh, yeah. See that? That is not a good sign if you're looking to buy something very interesting. This only has 2 USB ports, and this, you can open this. Which means that this could only mean one thing. This was the version that they brought out to cut costs initially before they could bring out the PS3 Slim. So it still has a Spider-Man font, but you can't play PS2 games. Which may not seem like too big of a deal, especially considering that this is the cheapest PS3 to buy. However, this does mean that if this breaks, then there really is no point in trying to repair it, because unless you really like your PS3. But yeah, this is definitely a weird one, and I have lost all train of thought. You know who else hasn't crashed with their train of thought? My mind wanting to find out more complicated stuff. And it is time to bring on the stuff that are sort of complicated, but you kinda have to get used to it. So we're going to be talking about the original Xbox. Not again. I'm suffocating. My PSP is gonna get out. Alright, so let's talk about this. So, you've got an Xbox. You've got the original Xbox. Look at it. It has a very nice design. I still think that this is one of the best looking consoles ever. However, did you know that if you buy an Xbox, it is likely that this is probably going to be on life support? Provided you aren't one of the few people who have a 1.6 model, this has a clock capacitor that is probably about to leak and destroy your entire motherboard. What that basically means is, once that happens, this is basically a massive paperweight that is heavy as well. So, how can you really fix that? Well, I mean, like, I actually did. This was the first console that I bought back in 2021? And I bought it with the worst game on the console, which was Forza Motorsport 1. And ignoring my personal opinions, I opened this up. In fact, this was after a friend told me about it, which I already knew. So, I opened this up. You should not do this. And I went into the motherboard thing. I had to look up a picture to see where the clock capacitor would be. And luckily, I managed to pull it out. And this console, it actually still works. I don't play it very often though. But it could be a lot more worse. And talking about more confusing things, this has a different disk drive depending on which console you get, which console variant you get. And also if you have a 1.6 model, you basically throw this into the fray as well. So look at the PS Vita. This is God's favorite handheld. However, did you know that if you have a PS Vita, then you're gonna have to look out for something, because as surveyors may know, the PS Vita came out in 3G and Wi-Fi models, which meant that if you got a 3G model, it's mobile data, so you'd have to you'd have to get a data plan for it. You couldn't make calls with this, so it's basically, I don't know what they were trying to achieve with that. They can't they definitely weren't gonna make this into a phone, because they did for the infamous PlayStation phone. But yeah, this is the Wi-Fi model. Like, usually, if you have a 3G model, it is sorta easy to tell, although it can be easy to mislead people if you only show like the front of it, because it is basically a slot on the side of the console, if I believe so, and yeah. So, what was the deal with this then? Why did I pair this in the same way as I did with the Xbox? Because the Xbox, that is a useful tip. Unless you put out the clock capacitor on your 1.6 model, which means that, yeah, this console would be but unfortunately ain't a 1.6 model. But yeah, that is why I'm pairing this on the same level as I am with with the original Xbox. What do we have next on our list? Oh yeah, I don't have the Joy-Cons at the moment. That is probably going to be a bit of an issue, but we could probably talk about this. So, this is a Nintendo Switch without the Switch. Not the Switch Lite, this is without the Joy-Cons. And if you look at the back, this is HAC with the thing 001, which means that yes, this is the original model, and by that I mean the original model, because they released a revised version which is basically the same thing at the back, except with in brackets -01. So, what's the difference between that and that? Well, this one has shorter battery life, and I've, from what I've heard before, like the original one is a bit easier to model. Though it depends on what your serial number is, which I would have to check in inside the actual console itself, like booting it up. But unfortunately for me, uh, oh yeah, it's right there. I'll have to go check. Be right back. So I just checked after a bit of a hiatus, and I don't know. I I can't really read serial numbers that well. We're gonna have to come back to that because yeah. Right, let's move on to the more complicated ones. A bit more complicated than this and that. In fact, let's crank up a notch. I don't want to waste your time out here. I would be bringing up my Xbox 360E because that's what we're going to be talking about, but I cannot find it. I don't think there's really too much interesting reason to bring it out because it's most likely up there. But yeah. So let's talk about the Xbox 360E because there were like 8 motherboard revisions of the Xbox 360 throughout its lifespan, only 2 of which were released, which were done for the Xbox 360E version. And yeah, people tend to tout the E as being a bad console that probably had no reason to exist. Well, really, it was just a budget version of the Xbox 360, so sorta like the Super Slim of the PS3, but without any of the fun sliding door mechanics. So, why am I bringing that up? Well, we're gonna be delving into something that is taboo, and yeah, moddability. Because one thing about the Xbox 360 modding community is that, yeah, there were 2 motherboard versions of the Xbox 360E. There was a Corona which was shared from the Xbox 360 Slim, and then there was Winchester. You can't mod an Xbox 360E console if you have a Winchester motherboard, and I'm pretty sure mine had that because I did open it up to try and fix it because it red ringed, and but yeah, we're gonna have to just crank up to the max level. And yes, I had to stand up, ignore this mess because the most important part, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I was looking up tidbits to do about the Mega Drive, and yeah, this is one very important console to talk about if you want to just blow your brains out, I guess. So, this is the European Mega Drive, which is it's very easy to differentiate. It's gonna show up on your screen. About this. Usually the earlier models have had high definition graphics. It doesn't matter if you're in North America or Europe. But yeah, that usually would appear at the top. Not on the later versions. And for that, we're going to. This is not the big part. Let's talk about sound, shall we? Right, so one sort of known thing about the Mega Drive 1, apart from the fact that this is basically the better console to get, is that this also has genuinely considered better audio compared to the Model 2. Unless you have a VA7 motherboard thing. I'm gonna link a video down this in the description. You could see what I'm talking about, but it sounds more crunchy. But yeah. And then there's also a less notable difference because there is also the VA0 to VA2 motherboard versions, which they use the original audio circuit. I do not know what that means. And I am very sure that this is a VA6 Mega Drive, so it has a slightly revised audio circuit, which is considered to be the second best one. But yeah, I don't have anything to test this out with. That's what I'm gonna link down in the description. But like, there's one thing to kind of keep note of. Like, it doesn't affect the fact that Mega Drive soundtracks are really good because they take advantage of the lesser audio sound chip for the Mega Drive, and they are able to use it to the advantage. That's why people always argue about, oh yeah, this has the best music, because people are able to use this to the fullest, unless of course until the Mega Drive 2 came around. So why did I make this? Now I just don't know. I just wanted to kind of talk about this, I guess. I guess this is just one big tidbit for me to talk about. I need to put those consoles back. And I'm probably going to go now. So, if you like this, if you want, you could subscribe. I want to make better videos than this. I feel as if I can make better videos than this. This I can't just hash out in a night. So, yeah. Whew. Really, I don't know what I'm doing here. Anyways, talk to you all later. Salute, and I'll see you in maybe in the next video. I don't know.